All right, this is AI regulation news. There's a sudden wave of AI regulation which is forcing businesses to adjust. Today, we're going to go over 3 news stories that hit this week about government prying its way into the world of business AI. We'll talk about how one company is pushing back and how you can continue to profit. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm building the AI Capitalist channel, and today we're going to figure out how these stories are going to affect your business leaders and how you can get ahead and stay ahead. The European Union has just agreed to a new law regulating artificial intelligence technology. They named it very cleverly the AI Act. It's really the first attempt by a government to control how AI is developed and used. The AI Act focuses on risky issues of AI that could negatively impact people's lives. So, for example, it restricts how police can use facial recognition technology to identify people. It requires the makers of AI chatbots and image generators to disclose their content and the fact that it was made by an AI and not by a human. So, bottom line, how does this affect profitability? Businesses developing AI in the EU will have to take 3 steps. Number 1, they're going to cough up the technical documentation behind how their AI was developed. Number 2, they're going to have to offer detailed summaries of their training data. And number 3, they're going to have to comply with EU copyright law, which many argue is a complete non-starter. If you're doing business in the EU and you fail to take these steps, you could be fined up to 7% of global sales income. So meanwhile, back on the US side of the pond, the SEC, which is the government agency that regulates stocks and bonds, decided to get in on the governmenting and is proposing some guidelines to mitigate the risk of using AI for investment planning recommendations. So if you're involved in investment planning and you're making an AI investment plan that involves taking all of the relevant data about you, personal and otherwise, and financial and otherwise, and then you're using this AI-driven software to turn out a tailored, customized investment plan, the proposed regulation is going to affect you. So how does this affect your personal bottom line? It exposes 2 potential risks. First risk, when your data gets fed into a GPT-like AI system, it ends up being uploaded onto a server, and it could end up in the public domain, which exposes your very, very personal information to strangers. And number 2, the solutions generated could end up being hallucinations, which are typically generated AI mistakes that would be glaringly obvious to a human being with common sense, but AI is unable to differentiate between crazy and normal. They're funny when it's a weird AI image generated in Midjourney, but less funny when it's your life savings being invested in oil right before a huge oil crash. So even the Pope is getting in on the regulation. He's calling for a global treaty to regulate AI, but it's not entirely clear what regulations he wants to see enacted. I'm actually more curious how the church will eventually view the humanity or personhood of artificial general intelligence once it achieves human-like levels of cognition and understanding. Contributing to the ethical area of AI is where the church is going to provide the most value. And if you feel that you're getting value from this broadcast, I would urge you to push the like button. Pushing like lets me know that I'm making profitable use of your time, and it helps spread this value and profit to others. Thank you very much. So, geofence warrants require tech companies to provide data on everyone in a certain area at a certain time. If the police find a body in the middle of the park and forensics shows that he was shot a couple of hours ago, then the police can figure out whose cell phones were in the area at the time of the shooting, and they can narrow way in on a suspect pretty quickly. So up until now, Google has been storing user location history of its users on the cloud, so the police with geofence warrants could pretty much instantly get a download of who was where and when. Of course, privacy advocates have pointed out that the government can access this information whenever they want. So it effectively means that the government can watch your every move. Google agreed, and now they're only sharing and storing geolocation histories on a user's phones and having it auto-delete from users' phones after 3 months, rather than uploading it to the cloud. They're encrypting any cloud backups. So even Google now itself can't access the data. So this is great if you're a privacy advocate and you're concerned about a Chinese Communist Party-like surveillance state. It's also convenient if you just shot someone and are carrying a Google phone. But how's this going to affect your bottom line? Well, if you're in surveillance tech or individualized marketing, it's a sign of what's to come. Since people are becoming more aware of these technologies, on the other hand, knowing that their data is being better protected means that your customers might be more willing to turn over their data to you for a more customized marketing and sales. But if you're involved in more invasive tracking of individuals, you're going to have to reconsider your strategy. So bottom line for business owners, we're seeing government moving into the AI space pretty quickly. and some pushback from the tech giants themselves. I mentioned in the first video I made that really it's a big world and there are a lot of jurisdictions where you'll be able to take your cognitive technology and develop it however you want. And that's still true. The government can't stop AI or AI development. But the European Union and the United States are huge markets in the global economy. You're going to need to take into account how you deploy that technology once you have it developed. Keeping profits running and legal headaches away involves staying on the right side of the law.